Welcome to the channel. This is the next video in our Building a Robot series. In this video, we use 3D printed parts to enclose our components. Make sure you stick around until the end of the video because I'm going to mention something that we haven't mentioned before in the channel. I'm not sure if you worked with 3D printers before, but designing a 3D part is very difficult. Lee spent hours and hours designing the two main enclosures for this robot. This is a main component part, and this is going to be holding the touchscreen from those 4 attachment points that you see right there in the front. It's also going to be holding a USB hub that we use to communicate with all the devices, and it's also going to hold the main computer, which is a Latte Panda card that I mentioned before. Oh, by the way, if you haven't watched those videos, linked in the description below so you can catch up. The other enclosure Lee design is the battery enclosure, which obviously is going to hold the battery. But it also has a second function. The lid used to cover this enclosure is also going to be a mounting point for the camera. Here you can see the lid, and here you can see the mount for the camera. Like I mentioned before, this took hours and hours of design work to get it to work properly, and more than one try printing it for all the pieces to fit together properly. Not to mention that 3D printers take hours and hours to print each of these parts. Okay, now let's jump to the workshop and start putting the parts together. Okay. And then I put the face on.
Yeah, over that, exactly.
So these here.
Yep.
Same
kind of drill, except this time it's with hex screws.
Okay. Hub goes facing in or facing out?
The slots face to you, the main slots.
Like that.
Like that, yeah.
Okay. Just a little more. There we go.
Yeah, it sounded like it moved. Beautiful.
Okay, so then this goes to the Panda, right?
Yeah. I usually wrap it around here and then come back.
Okay.
But you want to put in the video one first. Well, I don't know. Maybe not.
The
What you're
HDMI?
doing, yeah, but what you're doing looks like it might be just fine.
So now we need HDMI. Should I plug in the screen?
Yep. And I put it in the blue slot.
Okay. Okay.
And there you have it.
And that one goes like that.
Yeah.
Right? Wait, should we have mounted this? No.
Yes. The really funny thing about this is exactly what I did the first time.
Okay. So, okay. Well, it's going to be easier to take that thing in and out now, Lee.
Yeah. Well, it will be after you get it out the first time.
Okay, so now, well, I needed the practice, so now I know which.
Yeah. We're going to limber it up here a little bit.
After we put all the components together, we realized that we should have mounted the main component enclosure on the robot before we started putting in all the other components. We had to take the enclosure apart so we could get to the mounting points at the bottom and start building it again once it was already mounted on the robot. So I'm going to fast forward through doing all that, and I'm just going to skip to the end to where we're finishing up where we left off before we stop taking it apart. Is the battery box next?
Yep.
Okay. And the battery's going this way?
Yep.
Okay.
And this slides in on top of the battery box with the raised part towards the back.
So, and then this is the Arduino. So that goes to the hub.
Yep. Yeah, it reaches.
Okay.
Oh, and the speaker. We didn't put the speaker in.
Okay, let's open it
Yeah,
up.
I just had it inside of that. Be a little tidier.
Yeah, that way we don't run another cable through the bottom. Okay.
What I'm thinking we'll do too, I thought about putting collision avoidance and ultrasonic down here to catch things down low, but then we don't want it to stop for that necessarily. We want it to try and go over it.
Next time. But
Yeah,
at
next
least
time
that
we'll
will
be
give
able to
me-
make it go.
Yeah,
Next
that'll give
time we'll
us-
be able to make it go out in the yard.
As you heard Lee mention, there's still a few things that we want to do. The next thing is going to be that we want to control the robot the same way as we do on our C car. So the receiver needs to be installed somewhere in the robot. We also have to mount and connect the camera, which is something that we didn't get to in this video, but I'm sure that you'll get to see the camera in action in the next video. Okay, so now, what is the thing that we wanted to tell you? So the reason why we decided to build a new robot, and this is something that we haven't mentioned before, is because we're getting ready to do a demo. We want to be able to show and prove that with our framework, robots are able to communicate with each other. So for example, we're getting ready for this presentation, and what we want to do in this demo is that we want Antwerp to communicate with this new robot and ask it to send images of the surroundings and send that image data back to Antwerp. And Antwerp is going to send a request back to Azure to identify whether there is a beer bottle in the picture that was sent. If the picture contains a beer bottle in it, Antwerp is going to communicate to this new robot and tell it to stop looking and taking more pictures. So that is the main reason why we decided to build a new robot, because we want the robots to communicate with each other. Now that we have these two robots, we are going to be able to demonstrate that the robots can communicate with each other. And there's an infinite amount of things that we can test using the framework. If you want to learn more about the framework, there's going to be a link to our website in the description below. Thank you for watching the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you found this video useful or if you want to follow our journey. Thank you, and catch you in the next one. We gotta come up with a name for the new robot. New robot just doesn't cut it. Just new robot here, new robot there. I think I'm gonna ask Lee to come up with a name for it. Maybe in the next video you'll find out what the name is. Oh, and by the way, don't forget to watch the video.